Hey Tophees, today I'm talking to Alexa. She racked up some credit card debt and is living paycheck to paycheck when her work got cutting down her expenses, but the main focus is exploring areas to increase her income. Then she can focus on her passions and investing for her future. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe and share with others to help the channel grow. Thanks again, I'm Topher, and this is Financial Fit.
My name is Alexis Somerset. I am 29 years old, where I currently reside in Inglewood, California, and my the roughly annual income is around $41,000.
And let's jump into your debit card statements. So it looks like this is all your transactions for your income and also your expenses. Do you have any other debit cards or credit cards that you use?
That's the only one. But I have a Cash App card. I don't think that counts as a debit card. I mean, yeah, it does count as a debit card. I have a Cash App card.
I see a good amount of Cash App, and I guess it's probably tied to the same account. So this has all your expenses. So let's just kind of go through and help me understand your spending habits here. I do see a good amount of Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash. So do you have a car, or do you usually Lyft and Uber when you go around?
I Uber and Lyft for the most part. I normally ride the bus for the most part. However, I Uber and Lyft from time to time when I'm feeling lazy or something or running late.
Do you have access to a car when you need it, or do you just kind of like the car you're in right now? Is that like your work car?
Yeah, this is a work car.
Okay, so you only have it when you're working.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you have? I guess later on, is your goal to get a car, or you kind of prefer just kind of Uber and Lyft around?
Yeah, my goal is to get a car.
So maybe that's one car to save up. And I see a lot of your transactions. You have some eating out. I see a couple of times you go to a grocery store. Would you say most of the time you eat out, and then maybe like 10 or 20% you cook at home?
I'll say like 20 to 30. Yeah. I'll say 20%.
20% cooking. Okay. Yeah, that's one thing. Maybe we'll explore. We'll just see like your spending habits, and then based on your goals, what can we focus on in terms of spending. I also see in your debit card transactions, there's almost every few days or so you get a transfer from shares. I'm not sure that's like a trust fund or something where you're getting money.
From shared? It's probably my other checking account. I have two separate checking accounts.
The other checking account, is that one that you just consolidate from your income, or is it kind of does it go back and forth? I see transfers to and from. So is that just automatic transactions, or do you have a lot of money in the other account?
Well, I have some money in that account, but that account is kind of like for bills. Like I'll put, if I don't have a bill coming up, then I'll put money over there. I'll put money in that account.
Gotcha, bills. Okay, I see. So you kind of like have a separate account for saving for the bills. Okay. So it's like you put money into it for the bills, and then you have extra, you bring it back to this account.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. So I don't think I see the transactions for the bills, but do you know what kind of bills you have right now? Is that utilities, phone bill? Do you have other things like that?
I have rent. That's the only thing. And I'm saving up money to pay my debit off.
So you have rent, and how much is your rent?
Oh, my phone bill. My rent is $1,000 a month.
Okay, so I might ask you for that later. After this call, I'm gonna send you this budget template, and I want you to fill in all your expenses and your bills in there, so we can kind of have a better picture of where your money's going. Right now, there's all transactions here, and I think once we kind of consolidate that into their average expenses each month, then we can figure out a game plan to save and invest. Okay, so it sounds like the other account, you have some rent, you have bills, and you mentioned you had a debt. So is that like student debt or car loan debt, or?
I have some student debt. I have some student debt. It's about maybe 12 grand. Not 12 grand, 1,200. It's around like 1,000. The car loan is like $4,000. It was a charge off. I have a credit card debt. That's about $2,000, and I think it's some miscellaneous debts. A total, I have about $10,000 worth of debt.
So you have student loan debt, you have a car loan debt, and then you said credit card debt.
Yeah.
Let's break this down. So student loan debt, the interest rate is probably low, but I might ask you for that later. Just kind of check on that. So you have a car loan debt. but you don't drive this car. So is it like for family or a friend or?
No, so I totaled the car back in 2020, and I just stopped making the payments once I totaled it. So I had like 4,000 left.
So then when that happened, did the car insurance get involved and cover it or?
No, they didn't cover my car payments. No, and I didn't know that was a possibility. They could cover those payments.
When the car actually happened, did insurance cover anything? Like, did it give you any money for that?
No. Because it had to go toward because I was at fault, and it had to go toward paying the people that I hit had to pay toward the fixing of their cars and whatnot.
Okay, let me look into this. It sounds like you might still need to pay off the car loan, but let me talk to one of my friends and see. I'm not sure if insurance is supposed to do that or does it get forgiven, but it sounds like you do owe money for the car loan. And since the accident, have you made any payments or has the amount gone up from interest?
No, it was a charge off. So I don't think they're still charging interest on it.
Okay, so it's got paid off. Okay, and then he has some credit card debt. So a credit card is that, it sounds like you don't want to use that credit card since you have the debt on it. Is that from, I don't know, you just spending like as usual or does something come up where you had to use a credit card and you got some credit card debt?
Well, that's when I was working. I was making good income, and I kind of like charged my credit card. I was like, I just pay it off another time. So I just was unaware of money, and I was just using my credit card and not adding money from my debit checking account to pay off what I spent on the credit card. So I got kind of lazy.
Right. Okay. So the credit card sounds like you don't use it right now, but you do have, you said like about 5,000 in credit card debt?
2,000. They just closed my credit card. They closed it in April because I was just making minimal payments. So they went ahead and closed it.
And then the 2,000 debt, it probably has maybe 20 or 30% interest. So do you see your statements having an interest charge now?
Yeah, there's an interest charge. So that's why I have been saving as much as I can because I just want to just pay it off in full.
So I think overall, the student loan debt, about 1,000. We're probably going to check the interest rate, but it sounds like that's something we can put in the back burner for now. Car loan, you said about 4,000.
Yeah.
That one, it sounds like it's the interest is frozen, but you got paid off eventually. So also, we can hold up on the back burner for now. Credit card debt does sound like there's interest charged monthly. So that's probably what we're focused on for paying off debt. That's about 2,000. Was there any other debt besides that, or is that everything?
Hey, I think that's all the debt there is.
Okay.
I frozen my credit card. I frozen my credit. I haven't applied for any new credit. So yeah, that's all the credit that I have.
Yeah, let's focus on the habit building on your goals and finances, and then once that kind of stabilizes, if you want to open up a credit card, you can do that. It sounds like you understand, how to pay it off and, set up automatic payments and making sure it's within your budget. You also mentioned that you had a certain job and now you have a different job. So what happened to your old job? And then now are you trying to get back to a similar to your old job? It sounded like that was higher paying, right?
Yeah. So I was working, I guess, 2 jobs, but it was like a full-time and a part-time job. And I was a entrepreneur on the side. And I ended up quitting my part-time job, and I ended up being let go from my full-time job at the time. Then I just focused on entrepreneurship. But again, entrepreneurship, the income kind of varied, and so I don't know. I was that was the first time I made that much money in my life because I was like 23, 24. So I was like, okay, I'm making good money, and I wasn't really worried about credit at the time. I was like, I'm just gonna spend my money how I wanted to. And yeah, after that, I just kind of neglected my credit and keeping up with the payment, and I guess coming up with a plan to resolve the debt that I had. It just wasn't on my mind at the time.
What kind of business did you run, and do you still run it right now?
No, because it got too much. It became too much trying to do everything at once, along with like taxes and whatnot, and trying to be an accountant and marketing and everything. So I was like, I need to kind of put it to the back burner, because I still have bills to pay, and I can't just like go all in with entrepreneurship. And also I needed to like outsource some things. Yeah, I don't entrepreneur no more because it's just a lot for one person, and I didn't have like a partner or anything.
Was it services or more product based for your business?
Product based.
Like, is it e-commerce, something like that, or just kind of in-person selling?
It was e-commerce.
Let's just look at everything here. So your income right now is about 40 to 50. I guess if you got another part-time job, it could probably go up a little bit. You have, looks like your debit card has, most of the money comes in. and almost the same amount goes out. So that's pretty much, month to month, you're kind of just breaking even. You do have some debt to pay off. I'm not sure from the statement here if you're paying too much of that credit card debt off, but that's something we're probably going to add to the budget if it's not there right now. Do you put any other money to anything else? Like, we talked about rent, you have some bills. Do you put any money to like investments, stock market, or any other assets or things you gotta pay?
I was putting my money in Bitcoin and some stocks. However, I kind of took the money out because I think that was around the time I was an entrepreneur, and I guess I needed the money to pay for something else.
Okay. So I think I have a good idea of your finances currently. So let's have some fun and talk more about, I guess, what does Alexa want in her life? What do you want to accomplish? Is it, I don't know, you want to have a certain business, you want to travel, you want to own real estate, have a house, have a car? Like, what's kind of the big picture? What does Alexa want?
I would get married. I would buy a house. I know marriage is like a big piece of why people get a divorce in the first place. So if I was more conscientious and more, if I knew more about money and how to handle it, I would be more. I wouldn't be so reluctant to get married. Like I would just get married, and especially if I had like somebody else, a partner who was proficient, or not, I wouldn't say proficient, was knowledgeable about money, then it would be a different story. I would buy a home. I would invest in a business. I would travel the world with my significant other, and I would become a life coach. I would have like a business separate from being a life coach.
House, become a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
So let's elaborate on life coach. So what that entail? Everyone has their own, meaning behind that. So is it counseling a certain age group? Is it helping someone through a tough time? Is there something that already kind of exists that you're trying to emulate and be similar to?
Well, I haven't thought about the details, but for a life coach, I would try to teach people how to be more independent.
I'm gonna send you after this call. I have this curriculum that's called 15 Levels to Financial Freedom, and the first level is called Vivid Vision. So it's to help you kind of write out your dream life, your goals, what kind of house you want. You mentioned life coach, so describe what that means. Like, is it you wake up at a certain time and you have clients that you talk to every day, or you meet up in person, you have like a school of life coaching? Or is it something where, like you mentioned, teaching others to be independent? Is it kids? Is it teenagers? Is it adults? So when we work through level one, you're going to write out a lot of different things of specifics of what you want. And if you have pictures or, anything that kind of, help you visualize, okay, so-and-so's already doing what I want to do. Maybe it's someone you follow on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. That's where I got your inspiration from. Then maybe a picture of them of who you're trying to be like. So that would be one of the homework that you work on. Was anything else that you wanted? Because some of that life coach is kind of like what your income, what you want your income to be, right? Mm-hmm. The e-commerce stuff, the product selling, is that anything in the life you want to have or not really?
Yeah. So I kind of dabbled in e-commerce back in 2021. However, I didn't know much about the space of drop shipping, and so I kind of got frustrated because I guess I wasn't getting any sales. However, I think with drop shipping I should have kept going. I wouldn't say I don't like now. I was trying to learn as I go, but I think I need more of a plan.
No, definitely. Yeah, I myself I'm also in e-commerce. I've tried some variety of drop shipping in the past, but now I kind of do my own niche products that we get overseas and sell in America. So it is a lot more upfront cost. To some extent, it could be low barrier to entry. And that's why you could have more saturation, more competition. So I prefer to go the route where it's a little bit harder to get into being my competitor, just because of different product what you can just find a supplier for. So yeah, so I think in terms of your big life goals, e-commerce, entrepreneurship, and then life coaching, it sounds like e-commerce and business might be more of a short-term, not short-term, but more immediate goal where you can kind of start working on that, like start learning, finding partners, finding mentors to work with. And then life coach is more of a long-term goal, it sounds like, where maybe once you kind of your finances going, you have the e-commerce thing going, you kind of build a network of other entrepreneurs and business partners, and you can kind of life coach and have that behind you. So does that sound kind of where you want to kind of progress? And then as you're doing that, getting married, buying a house, does that sound pretty accurate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. So this is probably something that you're just adding to level 1. We'll send you over the curriculum template. Let's look at the other homework that I'm going to send to you. Level 2, it's called personal finance inventory. And basically that's going to be a list of all your accounts, your debt, checking accounts, bank statements, banks and stuff like that. The reason why I want you to work on this too is so that you have a list of all your debt and your accounts in one place, so that when we work on the next level, which is your budget, you can kind of consolidate your budget and fill it out a lot quicker. Right now, do you have a budget, or is it all kind of in your head and you kind of think about it?
Yeah, I do not have a budget.
Yeah, so once you do that together, then you can make a budget. And the main thing from here is what you're going to see is right now you don't really have any investments that you are putting money into, and you're not putting as much money into your debt from these statements. So what the budget's going to show is your income at the top, all your fixed expenses, so your rent, your phone bill, stuff like that you really need to do. And then at the bottom is going to have more your flexible spending. So that's eating out, stuff like that. And way bottom, you're probably going to see that right now you're kind of breaking even month to month, because you're looking at these statements, and pretty much it's like you get a few thousand each month, and then you spend a few thousand each month. So pretty much it's like breaking even month to month. And we're going to find a way where your expenses are cut a bit, so that you can use that money to invest, either to pay up debt and or build your businesses. Invest time to either get coaching, take a class. Maybe you need to find a mentor, and sometimes you do need to pay for a mentor or go to an event where the mentors available. So we just gotta find the extra money to put towards that. Off the top of my head, from looking at these accounts, it looks like food could be something that you can cut back on eating out and try to cook a little bit, just to save a couple hundred each month and put that towards investments in your future. The Uber and Lyft doesn't seem too crazy. I mean, it is maybe $100 a month versus taking the bus. So we got to find out, if that's something you want to focus on. And the third is, once you've filled your budget of all your bills, we need to figure out what are bills you're paying for. So you mentioned like rent, utilities, your phone bill. Maybe you have other bills that you also need to consider to cut back if you choose to go that direction too. So a lot of folks, they have, a bunch of subscriptions. So like Amazon, Netflix, a lot of different streaming sites. And, if you cut out half of them, they could save like $50 a month. Your phone plan sounds like you probably do need to have a phone for your job. But if you're paying for like a higher tier phone bill, then maybe you can get to a lower tier one that's, more minimal, or switch carriers as it's a cheaper alternative too. So once you lay out all your bills and all the options, we gotta find a way to cut down expenses a little bit. Then on the other side, it's increasing income. So the expenses, we kind of see where we can kind of shave $100 here and there and use that towards debt and investments. But for income wise, do you think you have capacity to take another job, or how do you feel about that? Because it sounds like before you did, and now you have one job. So what's your thoughts on that?
I work 2 jobs. However, now I understand the importance of freeing your time up. Like, I mean, I worked 2 jobs, but I wasn't, and the money was cool. However, now, since I work 1 job, I'm able to, I have more time for my hobbies. Like, I didn't have time for my hobbies then. Now I can, like, I joined a basketball league. Now I have more time to focus on enhancing my skills more. Like, now I just took up a photography course, and now my next endeavor is to now I'm in an IT course. Maybe I want 2 jobs, but I don't think it gave me a chance to explore and enhance more skills so I could maximize my earning potential. I think working 2 jobs, okay, yeah, it pays the bills, it pays my debt off, but I don't think I'm learning any new skills when I'm working 2 jobs.
So let's dive into that more because we didn't talk about this so much. So basketball, a league, that's great. You know, we need to have some balance between making money and enjoyment. Photography and IT course is one other more of a hobby just to have fun, and the one's potentially going that career path, or are they both career path items, or what's your thinking on that?
So photography, I would think that was I was leaning toward that. So I think that would be I think that would be like a hobby that I could make money from. And I also enjoy, and I think it's tied into one of my other hobbies, which is I like traveling. I think that, you know, if I record videos while I'm traveling, or maybe going to an art museum or something, or an event that I could like compile into photography. And so I think I took up photography so that could be like an extra side hustle. And also it's something that I enjoy. And IT is for me to maximize my earning potential. Like I worked in security for 8 years, going on 9 years now. However, I want to transition into IT because I think that would maximize my earning potential, and it also ties into security because I know they have like I've worked in like access control and whatnot, but if I like add the IT, I think that would I guess make me more valuable as a IT professional, security IT professional.
Yeah, so let's kind of break each one down. So basketball, great, you know, get some physical exercise, and then you have some fun, community in that area, great. Photography, it sounds like you use it as enjoyment when you travel, go to museums, so stuff like that. Maybe you want to improve your skills. You can get some gigs. Maybe you take photo shoots for someone's graduation or wedding, and you know you make $100 here and there from that. The IT direction sounds like that's more stable and a lot more earning potential. So let me focus on this for a little bit. How many months or what's the cost to get to where you're trying to get to? Is it a couple $1,000s for the course, more courses, and then it's 6 months of classes, or how much and how long do you think it's going to take to get to the next level?
So that course is that was a free course from this college in California. And so I'm going to take that course. They also, while I've been taking this course, there have been emails of companies looking for IT interns. So what I was going to do was I was going to finish the course, and then I was going to go to more networking events for IT, and to see if I could get a paid internship somewhere.
Sounds like the course is free, and then you're looking to start applying to internships. So it sounds like right now, is there more classes you want to take before applying, or you think you're ready to go right now?
No, I'm still taking the course because I kind of for me, I focus on one thing at a time so I can give it my all. I've been focused on photography for the first half of this year, and now since I've completed that photography course, now I'm going to focus on IT. But now I have the skills for photography. So when I'm not doing IT, when I'm not working security, and when I'm not playing basketball, now I can take more photos, and I could build a portfolio for photography.
Okay, I think your plan sounds good. You know, I agree. You got to focus on one thing at a time, and it sounds like right now you focus on IT security. How much longer are you doing courses until you start applying?
I'll say this year, because IT is a very intricate space. It's a lot of skills to learn, and IT, I think it really requires one to have attention to detail. I think that's IT is a specialized skill for sure. So I don't think that's like you go through a course and that's it, you're on your way. IT is like you really have to study. You really have to have hands-on experience with IT to really understand and be proficient in IT. So that's gonna take me probably the rest of the year. Even that'll probably take me that'll take me 2 years to become like professional with it. And then I think IT is like an ongoing thing because I don't think we are. I mean, the internet just was here, just arrived in 2000. It's been 20 something years, And Web3 has just got on the scene at the last part of the 2010s. I think IT is one of the top growing careers. So I think I have time to just learn the basics, and then once we get more information about IT and how it's going to affect cybersecurity and the cyberspace as we know, I think I'm gonna I'll probably complete the basics in like 2 years. That'll give me time to like really be proficient in it and not just know it to do a task, but like know it as a specialized skill.
I definitely see what you're saying. Let's talk about this for a little bit. So, I used to work in IT. This is back in my early days, and like I said, it's very broad. Like IT's, like, what does that mean? Is it hardware? Is it lines? Is it security? There's a lot of different specialties within it. I think for you, it's good you have this free course and learn some of the basics of like what it means. But I think what we need to also do is figure out what jobs also exist in Los Angeles in terms of IT. The reason I mentioned that is I work in tech, and all our friends work in IT, or we call it tech or software engineering, everything, right? And a lot of companies are trying to cut costs by having those jobs overseas. So, my team's now in the past, half in America, half is elsewhere, just because it's cheaper labor for the same thing. So what I don't want you to do is learn all these skills that there's no jobs in LA. I think you need to find some recruiters or job listings in LA if that's you find a liver, for example, and then figure out what they ask you for, and ask them, okay, like, how can I learn this? And based on the keywords in the job description, what they're telling you, then we learn on those things. Because I don't want you to learn these basic IT things for 6 months and then you don't care about that. I want you to figure out, okay, do you want X, Y, and Z, and I'm gonna learn that, and you expect to have a job lined up, versus you learn these things and you go and you realize, oh, that's not what they wanted. If you follow. So definitely, I think we'll have some notes here where to go to some networking events, there's a lot of like free meetup groups for IT professionals. So networking there and figuring out like what they really need. And there's probably certain things they want to have in the States, in Los Angeles, other skills they want overseas because it's able to be done remotely and labor is a little bit less expensive. And then we kind of find that balance of what to focus on and what they want. So I'll put a note here too, and we'll look into that. So I guess everything we've talked about, your finances, your long-term goals, your short-term goals. Is there anything that we're missing or we didn't talk about yet?
I think that's everything for right now.
Okay, so if anything comes up, let me know. I'm gonna write up some goals and homework. I think overall, in terms of the finances, the next month or so is working on the homework on making your budget, finding ways to cut down on some expenses. So either just eating out, shopping, trying to use a bus instead of Uber and Lyft, which is not too crazy right now. But I think trying to find some money to pay off some of this debt would be helpful. And then for income potential, IT security, figuring out what that is. Maybe you have friends already in the space you're trying to get into, and you can ask them what to learn, network, and try to figure out what to focus on, just so that you're working on the right things and learning the right things, not just learning just to learn. And then hopefully that works out in this year, and then you get a higher paying job with more career advancements. And then from there, higher income, you can save more and start investing more. Because I think, like you mentioned, you want to get your time back. So if you want to be a married life coach, have a business, have a house, you definitely got to start stacking some cash so that you can invest it. And that investment money works for you while you're sleeping, while time goes on, and it builds to give you your time back. So yeah, Alexa, good chatting with you. I'll send you some notes and homework, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, all right.
Do you feel good about this, or do you feel worried or scared? Or
Yeah. You said something about you said learn the right things, like my goals are, I guess my life goals are changing because I guess when I was like 19, 20, I said, you know what, I'm just going to travel the world, just learn as much as I can. My grandmother instilled in me just to learn, you know, as much as possible in my 20s. And now I'm approaching 30, and you said to learn the right things now rather than just learn just for the sake of learning. Nobody has ever told me that before. So, now I have to figure out what are the right things to learn, you know, and be more specific what I'm trying to learn.
Yeah, the learning
so it can like fit in my goals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if your goal is to become an IT security professional, then we gotta learn the skills to do that. And when I say right, it's just on that path. Because you know, when I worked in IT, the IT department I worked at, there was like 15 different groups, and the high up people, they kind of know the ideas of every group, but everyone's very specialized. So if I learn one thing, then great, but there's no job openings, then they won't hire me. They hire someone else. That's kind of what I mean by learning the right things, because you know, like you mentioned, there's a lot of things changing with the internet, Web3, security, all of that. But a lot of companies, they're outsourcing a lot of jobs overseas. So we're going to avoid learning those things unless they're going to keep those jobs in LA, assuming you want to stay in LA. Even my teams, you know, we work all remotely. So some people are in Los Angeles, but I would say more than half of the people I talk to on a daily basis for my job are not in Los Angeles. And I would say half of them, they're not in the States at all. So it's just figuring out how companies are going forward with hiring, and then learning the right thing to do the job and stay here. So I'm assuming you want to be in LA, right? Or do you
well, I just moved here from Atlanta, Georgia. And so again, I guess moving to LA kind of tied into my life goals of just traveling the world, traveling as much as possible. However, like now I'm in a relationship and we've talked about marriage, and she's a model and she wants to move to New York. And so I was going to see if maybe I could get a remote job in IT. However, I've been watching TikTok and people who are currently in IT, and they have said that it's like really hard to get a job as a remote IT specialist, and you really have to I guess you have to network a lot, as well as learn the specific skills that are necessary for working remotely in IT.
Yeah, so definitely we gotta figure out what those skills are, and then like whether jobs are available. I mean, if we do move to New York, you know, like I think some general IT knowledge is good, but we do gotta make sure we're efficient with our time and we're learning like the things to get the land a job. And maybe it's not remote. Maybe it's something where you move to New York and you just find a new job there. But I guess we'll see how things fall into place once that happens. But yeah, it sounds like we do have a good amount of work to do right now. Just kind of be efficient day to day to kind of knock those things out. And then if we're not in LA or you move to New York, you got to kind of pivot and see. But you know, learning the right things for IT is probably the main thing to focus on.
Okay. Well, thank you for that advice.
Yeah, no, I think you're on the right track. You know, like just kind of stay focused on that. And I think also I'm gonna send some links on jobs, kind of get an idea of what they're looking for in LA, and then they're probably looking for similar things in New York too. So focusing on those skill sets and starting a network to get the job would be important.
Okay, for sure.
Okay, all right, Alexa. Well, I'll send this over to you, and then we'll be in touch. Have a good rest of your day.
All right, you as well.
I shared my curriculum template for the 15 levels to financial freedom to Alexa, and she should focus on levels 1 to 3. By creating a budget, she can visualize that all her income is used up for expenses and there's no money left over for saving or investing. We need to build a strong foundation so that once she increases her income, she can use that for savings and investing. Here are the 3 things to focus on. Once she finishes her budget, we need to review her expenses. We need to explore eating out less, shopping less, and using the bus instead of Uber or Lyfting. This can save her a couple hundred each month. However, the main focus is increasing her income. It sounds like our focus is to build a career in IT. My main worry is that she's learning 2 broad skills. When I worked in IT, my mentors and managers told me that getting a job in IT help desk was was a side door to a career in IT. It's a great option to explore because it's entry level, and while you can learn about the other IT opportunities in the company and learn skills for those jobs. A lot of the IT jobs have moved out of the States, so it's important to focus on the right things to get a job in the States. Lastly, I want Alexa to be open to investing and opening a Roth IRA. She'll first need to save more money to invest, but this will help her build wealth over time. Overall, Alexa is level 1.5 in terms of the 15 levels to financial freedom, and she can easily become level 7 if she can increase her income and keep her expenses low. Hey Tophees, thanks for watching. If you want the same free curriculum for the 15 levels to financial freedom or apply to be on Financial Fit, click on the link in my bio. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Financial Fit.